Looks like we're live. Happy New Year, Andrew.
Yeah, happy New Year to you too. Did you have a good one?
Yeah, well, I did have a really good one. We did get COVID
Oh,
this Christmas, so it wasn't bad. I didn't get it bad, but it did force me to rest. And
yeah.
you know that my Christmases are really busy with my family. So there's 24 people. So it's always big. So it didn't happen till after Christmas, but it did actually force some rest. And that's not like me, which was good because I feel actually good now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I went out and partied hard, sorry.
Well, you must have for me because I've only had one wine since COVID.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
still
So,
haven't celebrated New Year.
oh, okay. Well, get your health back and then go and trash it with a few wines or something.
Trash it, I will.
Yeah, no, I had a really good start to the year, and it's a very interesting year we've got going on right now. Really interesting year.
I know, I know. When you say
And
interest,
leadership is going to be on the radar globally. Right, political leadership is going to be on the radar globally. Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
mm,
before we get started, the topic today is around what leaders shouldn't do in 2024. I
right.
often find we're always saying this is what you should do. You've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this. And I thought, let's have a chat about what are a couple of things that leaders shouldn't do. And
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
audience that's listening, just let me do a little quick introduction. I'm Kylie Denton, the owner and director of Performance Advisory Group. I have Andrew Priestley here, who is my coach and mentor, but also a long-term friend. We did our psych degrees together and specialised in organisational psychology,
Mm.
and that was 20 years ago, or maybe
Oh,
over 20 years ago.
was.
I
It
know,
was.
I know.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, and both of us have our degrees in the psych, but we really did it around organizations. So we didn't do it to become a psychologist. We did it because we wanted to help organizations, leaders, and businesses to really understand the dynamics of leadership, strategy, and culture, and bringing it together. And that's what you specialize in, but it's also what I specialize in. You're also an amazing author of, I don't even know how many books. What is it, over 20 now?
Easily. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Easily, easily. So you're amazing. And I love that we get together every fortnight and we just talk about what we see that is happening with our clients day in, day out.
Mm.
But also some of the trends that we see, and also share some statistics and research and information that we know. Have I missed anything?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you haven't. And I just hinted at political leadership, and for me, most of the comments we're talking about is commercial leadership. So this is leaders who are in a commercial setting. So if you're you're an owner founder, you're an SME, you're a corporate leader, you're a professional within a larger organization. But you're responsible for leading people. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm not really going down the political route, political leaders,
Yes, yes.
military leaders or things like that.
I don't even know if we'd have time for that in these sessions.
No, no,
It
no.
it would warrant days of conversation, wouldn't it? So
Yeah,
so let's talk about what leaders shouldn't do in 2024. What are
yeah.
some of the things that you think they should stop doing?
Well, two points I'd make if you think about and so if you're watching this live or you're watching this on replay, right? The performance, if you like, the performance hack is what do I need to stop doing, start doing, or continue doing. So if you're trying to assess your own personal behavior and you want to change something, because we're at the New Year's resolution stage anyway. I think next Monday most resolutions are done and dusted. I think it's they bite the dust by I think about the 15th. It's about your
Yeah.
statistics. But if you're trying to change anything, what do I need to stop, start, or continue doing? We're talking about what do you need to stop doing, right? And if you stop something, it probably means you're going to have to start something and then maintain it, right? And the second thing I wanted to point out is that none of this works if you decide to ignore the obvious. So we're really talking about conscious leadership. So you're aware of what's going on, you're aware of your own strengths. So I would say a caveat to all this is just be really self-honest. For me, it's look at what happened in 2023. What were the disappointments, or what were the things that you felt you could have done better in 2023? And particularly, what do you think you need to stop doing or change from last year? Otherwise, 2024 is just going to be a repeat of that year.
Yeah. Good point. I think, when I hear you say that, one of the things that I want leaders to stop doing is to avoid feedback. So what you're saying is, let's do that self-reflection. And I absolutely agree with that self-reflection. I think it's critically important. But as you know, we sometimes think we're better than we are. Okay. So if we're only using that self-awareness, we've only got our own mirror to look into. Whereas I think what's really important for leaders to do is to ask for feedback. So don't avoid it. Feedback helps us to grow and learn and move forward and be bigger and better. And that's what I'd like to see leaders stop doing, is avoiding that feedback, because it's important.
Yeah. And I'm assuming when you say feedback, you're talking about formalizing, seeking that feedback. So what would that look like if you were formally, if you decided, okay, I want to get feedback about my leadership in companies you've worked with, how does that show up?
Well, I think what we do, and I know what I do, but also the leaders that I work with, is when they do their one-on-ones, ask them not, can you give me some feedback? So I've heard many leaders go, oh, so Andrew, can you give me some feedback on my leadership? And you're going to go, oh, well, you're good.
Great.
Everything's good. It's good. Okay. Right. So I never ask for that. Okay. Because most of the time people don't know how to respond to it, and they feel like they're a little bit put on the spot. Whereas I'll say, so Andrew, as a leader, how can I add more value to you? What do you need more from me? So I'm actually using the how questions or the what questions. So what can I do to add more value to you? Or what do you need more of from me? Or how can I add more value? So I like what and how questions as opposed to that. So that's one way. 360 is another way, 360 feedback forms. Be prepared, leaders, for some brutal feedback if you're willing to go there. And please don't ever debrief without a coach. The second part is engagement scores. You can do that as well. I know when I'm working with leaders, I've got a great scorecard, and it looks at 10 different leadership competencies. And we send that out to groups of leaders that we work for, and we get their staff to complete that on the leader, right? So they're actually self-assessing their leader on the 10 core competencies that great leaders have. So there's quite a number of different ways that leaders can do it. But do it. Don't avoid it. This is your opportunity to learn and grow and be a better leader. I always say that leadership is a journey. It's not a destination. So we're constantly growing as a leader. With yourself and me, we can't help our clients if we're not learning and growing.
This sort of raises a question, like, because a lot of the clients I work with have formal metrics, right? And their leadership is really measured against OKRs or KPIs, whatever, right? And did you hit that number or not? That sort of thing. So you're either a good leader or you're not a good leader. And as you know, we were sort of coming out of the COVID thing of 2022. We just really started to merge. So 2023 was sort of like a reset for a lot of people. So a lot of the numbers were odd. I don't know about you, but I had a good year last year financially, right? But I know a lot of people who should have done a lot better that didn't, who really started to question their leadership, and it was more of a response to their businesses just caught up in a COVID issue, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that just because the results are good doesn't mean necessarily we can correlate it with leadership either.
No.
So I think that's one measure, but I actually don't think it's the sole measure out there. So I think there's definitely that. Don't avoid feedback. Feedback's great. It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
My second one.
I like to phrase it, how could I be a better leader, or how could I support you more in 2024? Right.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to actually just zero it down, how could I support you more in the next quarter?
Yeah,
exactly. Let's talk again in 90 days. But let's say I've got a client at the moment who they're doing a strategy day where they've done they call it a strategy day, but it sounds like it's an excuse just to go to a really nice hotel and have spa treatments.
Yes. Can I go?
Yeah, I said, can I go? And I said no. I mean, but the agreement between them is to really look at what were their key questions, like what were our achievements in 2023?
Yes.
They started with that. But then what were our disappointments with the business?
Yeah.
What were my personal achievements and what were my personal disappointments? Where did I feel I let myself down? But I mean, you're talking about two leaders that have known each other a long time and know each other really well, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm going to stop. That they would go with that. I need to stop this. I need to do that, and then they're open to that direct feedback as well.
Yes. So I think from my perspective, it's always the what and the how questions. When we start with,
tell more about that, the what and the how questions.
Well, the what and the how questions really drive open questions to give us a response. If I say to you, how can I be a better leader for you? Okay, then they're going to go, well, no, you're doing all right. You're good. Okay. Whereas
what
if
did
I
do wrong?
Yeah, that's right. Whereas what I'm saying is, how can I add value to you? So I'm sort of taking myself out of the equation and understanding what value I can add. Well, they might say, well, I'd like to spend some more time with you and learn a little bit more about what you do. Or I'd like to be able to spend some time with another leader and learn a little bit more about their department or their division. So when we actually ask around the adding value, everyone knows that. They seem to know how we can help them to be better.
I'm almost thinking, though, that the question that you're asking, the first question, is about me.
Yeah.
What do I do? And how can I add value to you?
Them.
About you. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
I think that's the direction. It's because the questions sound the same. They do sound similar. I was trying to get the subtlety in the question here. How can I add value to you in going forward in the next 90 days? Well, that makes that about me, the recipient.
Yeah, and they know that generally.
And it's sort of, I could say, how's my leadership been impacting you in the last 12 months?
Could do, yeah.
How have I added value to you last year? That's a review thing. How could I add value to you moving forward? So I think what I'm getting from this, from listening to you, is that the question is ultimately about the recipient.
It is, yeah.
The people who get impacted by my leadership.
Yeah. So because it is about them, isn't it? Leadership is about the person we're leading.
Yeah.
Okay. And we also know that many of our team need us differently. So when I find out what you need from me, I can deliver that. When I find out what RG needs from me or Anna needs more, I can deliver that to them. It's not a blanket approach.
To a relationship?
What's that? Sorry?
How is this different to a relationship, like a personal relationship?
Well, it's not, is it? It's not. Yeah. And, one of the things, and I'll try not to go too off track, but there's a guy here called Justin Coulson, and he's a parenting expert, or that's what he classifies himself at, psychologist. And he talks about regularly meeting with his wife once a quarter where they talk about how we track him. What's our focus for the next quarter? What are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
things that are important to us? How can we make sure that we're giving each other what we need? No different. It's what we should be doing in relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, so leadership is a relationship. Yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I want to add this because I'm also conscious of time as well, but I would say big caveat. This is for everyone listening here. Something you should not do is, and I saw this last year, right? And in 2022 as well, right? Um, really understand governance and compliance and stay on the right side of governance and compliance. Because I was talking to a couple of people who I said, you need to stop that. What you're doing is just stupid, it's irresponsible, it could even be illegal. So if you're doing illegal stuff, stop doing that.
Stop it.
Just stop it.
Yeah. And look, I do a lot of work in financial services, and
Yeah.
that's just an absolute no. It is just, you just don't even go there with that as well.
Oh, you'd have the FCA crawling all over you for a start off, but yeah.
Absolutely. And why do
Because
that?
at that level, it's sort of not only personal leadership, reputation damage, but it's that reputation damage to your company and to your other
Brand,
employees.
isn't it? Yeah.
So there's look at the nice soft stuff, but also look at what are your obligations as a leader in your role, and make sure that if you're doing anything that is questionable, you need to really clean that up, really clean it up.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I've got two more.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Um, Avoiding celebrations until the end of the year, right?
Oh, you
So,
should avoid celebration or
no, I'm saying stop avoiding them. Okay.
ah,
Because what I often see is we celebrate at the end of the year, didn't we?
yeah,
We celebrate, so many companies, they celebrate at the end of the year. Let's have a Christmas party. Let's have an end year celebration. A whole year of hard work, and we
yeah,
do one celebration.
yeah,
So avoid that.
yeah,
Once a quarter, once a month. It doesn't have to be big once a month. It doesn't have to be big once a quarter. It
yeah.
could be some pizzas and some drinks. It could be, an afternoon team building activity. Doesn't matter. Don't wait to the end of the year. People are exhausted. And what happens when we celebrate is we get that mojo back again. We get that energy back. So the amount of times I heard, oh, we haven't really all got together until the end of the year. Avoid that. Don't do that.
And we know that socializing is not just socializing. If you do it really often, it's really bonding and you're building a really cohesive team. What
And
was your third?
culture.
I love the celebrate one. I love that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I think another one that I've seen, and you coach a lot of executives like I do, but one of the things that I want to see executives, when I was reflecting on some of the things I want them to avoid doing, is lack engagement. So what I often see is CEOs, C-suites, senior executives, heads of GMs, they get so busy being busy that they forget to engage with their team.
Yeah,
I've got meeting after meeting. I'm traveling. I'm doing this. I'm developing strategy. I'm meeting with my other executives, that they forget their people. And I just said it again today. It's the people that get the results. So start engaging, start bonding, start building a relationship, start maintaining relationships. Stop avoiding engagement. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Value engagement.
Value
Yeah,
engagement.
yeah. Really value engagement. Yeah, yeah. And it can look at something like really, really stupid. Like I was with a leader at their office a couple of days back, and someone came in to talk to them, right? And they both were doing this while they were talking. And the conversation was just like superficial. There was no connection, no engagement. It was a real, just sort of like a bullet point conversation. And yet there was a real subtext
Yeah. Yeah.
conversation that needed to be in there. And when the person left the room, I said, "Did you ask them about?" Yeah, I was going to do that. Why not? Oh, because then you're on your damn phone, idiot. Stop using your phone when people are in your space. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
certainly, if you have young children and you're on the phone all the time, stop working.
Yeah.
Right? If when the bell rings, that's it. Knock off. Spend time with your family and your kids. Right? That's a
Yeah.
one. That's a big one. I'm saying.
Yeah, and maybe that might be the final one, Andrew. And I'll tell you a story, okay, to wrap it up, just to
Mm.
really, and then we can cover those 4 points quickly again. I run a workshop on leadership habits. What are the habits of highly successful leaders? And we run a workshop on it. And I always say, what is one habit you want to break? Okay. And the biggest habit that leaders want to break that come out from all of the presentations I do is spending too much time on their phone when they get home. Right.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, so if you weren't on your phone as much as you are, who would you be? And they go, well, I'd be a better dad, be a better mum, be a better husband, be a better wife, be a better brother, I'd be a better daughter, I'd be a better son, I'd be a better whatever. Okay. So it's one habit that so many people want to do is get off their phone so that they can do that. We have a little area in our home where the phones and the devices go, and they go there for a certain period of time so that we can connect, so that we can talk about our day, so that we can spend time, so that we can connect as a family. It's one thing I've practiced for a long time. I don't ever want my kids to ever say to me, "You're always on your phone. You're always on your phone." I never want that, ever.
Yeah. So it's being accessible to people, and like
Present.
question: who would you be if you weren't on your phone? If you turned your phone off, anxious because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
because I need to check my phone because that's the response I get. It's not
yeah.
I'd be a better husband than this. It's I'd be anxious, and the thing that I'm dealing with is my wife's asked me or my partner has asked me to turn off my phone, right? And I resent them for asking me to turn off the phone. And I said
Mm.
that's what I need to work with.
Yeah. So I'm always saying, just have a think about the time. So if you're home at 6, then maybe 6 to 8. Start from 6 to 8, that you just don't answer calls, you don't answer texts. That's family time. You can then get back on at 8 o'clock and you can do what you need to do, respond, check, whatever it is. And then, but you've got this time where people feel like we're together.
Yeah, I've got you 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'll finish up on this point, the engagement piece. I had one guy I coached, and the one thing that he said he took from coaching was to get him to look at people when they talk. So someone would come into his office and he'd be the head down doing that. And I said, you need to stop that, mate. When someone comes in, look at them.
Yeah.
Actually look at them. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a story I talk about, which maybe we could cover this another time, but it's a good story. But essentially, I had a client that over a holiday break, his daughter sadly was killed in a car accident, right? And he said, I used to, whenever she came in, she said, I never used to look at her. I never, I didn't engage, right? And he said, when someone comes into my office now, I engage with them 100%. Everything stops. I look at them and give them that attention. And he said, because he said,
Mm.
I just realized, he said, I used to ignore her. I used to be too busy to even look at her. And so when I tell people that story, um, this guy's PA said, "What did you do to him?" He's like, "It's really weird." I said, "What? When you talk, he now looks at you. You get 100% of his attention." And I said, "Do you like
Yeah.
it?" She goes, "I actually really like it."
Yes. And do you know how you can teach people to do that? So this is for the audience. If you're
Yeah,
wanting to do that more, take notice of people's eye color, right? So
yeah.
make that the trigger for you. So Andrew and I chatting, right? I now know your eye color, or I now know John's eye color, or I now know. So that can be the trigger to keep that eye contact.
Yeah, look, I had a really busy exec, and I said to him one day, we were talking about business. I said, "Mate, what colour's your wife's eyes?" And he paused.
Yeah. He didn't know.
He couldn't remember.
Couldn't remember. Wow.
Couldn't
Wow.
remember I said, I know because I've met his wife, right? I said, what
Yeah.
colour are your eyes? He goes, and then he fudged. Oh, hazel. Oh, green. Oh, brown. No, they're not brown. There must be. I said, that's what your homework is.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And yeah, I love doing that because um when I was younger, I was embarrassed to look at people face to face, like with their eyes. Whereas now I'm like, oh, you got pretty eyes. Oh, God, your eyes are a lovely brown or a lovely blue or a lovely whatever shape,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And it allows you to kind of think like that as well. So that's a little hint for people. There's a bit of a takeaway. But let's wrap it up. What we talked about was neglecting to ask for feedback.
Yeah.
We talked about lack of engagement. Okay, so
Yeah.
making sure you're spending time with your people. Okay,
Yeah.
not hiding in meetings or in offices with closed doors. We talked about avoiding celebrations.
Yeah. Great
And
one. Really good.
finally the last one was about stop doing the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Good
Um,
stuff. Yeah. But you're consciously aware. You know what you're doing is dumb. Stop doing it.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Love chatting with you. And I'll see you again in a fortnight.
I
Thanks
know. We
everyone for
must
listening.
we must talk about eye contact at some point too. That's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks, bro. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year, everyone.